Hello, how's it going everybody? My name is Dr. Woods. I'm a veterinarian. I'm 26 years old, and I realized I've never told the story of how I became a veterinarian. My story is definitely different than most people. I was particularly lucky in getting into vet school. I got accepted the very first time I applied, which is very lucky, can be rare, so don't get discouraged if you guys are applying more than once. It's definitely not the normal per se. So first, let's go back in time. It was a simpler time then. I was a wee young lad in high school. Now, at that time, I was quite different than I am today. Back in high school, I was pretty introverted. I was pretty in my shell. I didn't like talking to people, and I didn't have a lot of self-confidence either, but those are kind of some of the things I learned and gained in college after high school. But in high school, I needed a career. I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, what I wanted to do in the future. And I knew I liked animals, and I knew I was semi-good at science, so I was like, let's put them together and let's be a veterinarian.
What do our pets need to be healthy? They can't tell you, but science can. A new series of Trust Me, I'm a Vet.
It was interesting because I definitely don't have any family members in the veterinary field, and I had no prior experience in the veterinary field, and I had no friends in the veterinary field either. I was completely fresh. I was just like, this sounds like it could be fun. So that's kind of what happened. So I grew up in the small, very little town of Florence, South Carolina. A wee southern town, has its southern charms. It's also very boring, not a great place, particularly boring place to grow up. And when in high school, I realized that I needed to go to college somewhere, and I applied to a few colleges. I got accepted into Clemson University, one of the better schools in South Carolina, and as well as a local public college, Francis Marion University, where it was pretty local, near where I lived with my parents. And I got accepted into both, and I was debating about which one to go to, but eventually I decided to just go to Francis Marion University because it was going to save me a lot of money, because I pretty much had a full ride if I just went there. The downsides of going to a public college like that was we didn't really have a specific pre-vet program there, so there wasn't a whole lot of help per se from getting me from college to veterinary school. All I knew was I was going there for free to college, living with my parents, saving tons of money, and I knew that I needed to somehow get into vet school. And so what I personally did was I ended up contacting advisors at Clemson University, because I knew they had more of an established pre-vet program, and they actually had a pre-vet major, animal science major, while the college I went to, Francis Marion, I ended up majoring in biology while I was there. Now, I was at Francis Marion for about 2 years, and then after the second year, I ended up transferring to Clemson University because I knew there wasn't enough classes I could take at Francis Marion to get where I wanted to go. I figured I needed to move on to Clemson after those 2 years. So I ended up saving a lot of money those first 2 years and then transferring to Clemson University. And at Clemson University, I had a good time. I majored in animal science. I was taking some animal science classes, and I made sure that I got all of the prerequisite classes that I needed to get into vet school. Now, the second part of getting into vet school is you need veterinary experience. And that, again, that was something I had absolutely zilch of, zero, nada. And if you remember earlier, I said I was pretty shy, pretty introverted, and the thought of me going into a veterinary clinic and asking them if I could shadow there or get some experience was probably like probably the worst thing you could ask me to do. I was fighting it with every fiber of my being. I remember one summer, I think it was the summer after my first year of college, I believe, or maybe it was the summer between high school and college, but one of those summers, I remember sitting in my room, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, how am I gonna go and ask these people if I can shadow them? No one's gonna take me. I'm gonna fail. And I had all these thoughts of self-doubt, and it really did weigh me down, and that was probably my lowest point at that point. But what really helped me was getting into different activities, doing things like working out, weightlifting, and that really built my self-confidence up a lot, where I finally was able to get some connections and actually shadow at a vet clinic. So if you're like me, if you're shy, introverted, just know that you can do it, because I did. So if I can do it, anyone else can do it, even though it is very hard. And during those 3 years of college that I studied, I definitely took it super seriously. I didn't really party. I wasn't a partier. I pretty much stuck to myself, just tried to do as best I could in classes, and went from there. Now, after I transferred to Clemson University for my third year of college, I was thinking about applying to go to vet school. At the end of the third year, I figured out, I've worked it every semester, where by the end of the third year, I figured out that I would have all the classes I need to apply to vet school. And the one vet school I wanted to go to specifically was UGA, the University of Georgia. Why, you may ask? Well, if you didn't know already, going to vet school out of state, in a state that's not your own, out of state tuition is incredibly expensive. It's usually like twice as expensive as an in-state tuition. And another thing you may not know is that South Carolina actually doesn't have a vet school, so choices were incredibly limited for me. So what I ended up doing is there is a specific program that Georgia has with South Carolina. It's like a contract they have together, where what can happen is about, I'm not sure if it's the same right now, but around the time, it was about 16 to 18 students from South Carolina could go to the University of Georgia in Georgia, and they could not only go, they could go and have in-state tuition, which means it was a contract where there were 16 spots for people in South Carolina, where if they went to UGA, even though UGA isn't in South Carolina, it was a contract where you could still go there and get in-state tuition, so a lot cheaper. And that was what I wanted to do. I needed to figure out how to get there. So during my third year of college at Clemson University, there were some really good advisors there that basically told me, hey, you should apply. Because you are going to have all the classes you need by the end of your third year. And I wasn't particularly confident in my ability to get into vet school after only my third year of college, but I was like, hey, you know, I'm gonna have all the classes I need anyway by the end of my third year, so I might as well apply and try it out. And that's what I ended up doing. And I got to tell you, I was incredibly lucky, because I was taking it kind of lackadaisical, if you may say. I wasn't so serious about it, because I knew, you know, if I don't get in my third year of college, I still have the fourth year to go and I can get my undergraduate degree. I wasn't really pressed about it, but I barely met some of those deadlines by like the last day. And by the time, I think it was around October, November, December, I had finally finished my application for that third year to apply to vet school. And the thing was, I had only applied to UGA. I didn't apply to any other colleges. I wasn't thinking about any other colleges, because I knew I wanted to go to UGA, because I knew I wanted to get that in-state tuition, that cheap tuition that I needed to not have so many freaking student loans, because school is really expensive in the United States. So I knew I wanted to go to UGA. I didn't really have a second choice, to be honest. I wasn't applying to other vet schools. I was just applying there because I knew I wanted to go there. And it was only my third year, so I didn't really have to stress and apply everywhere, just in case I didn't get accepted into the school that I wanted to get into, UGA. And as far as like what type of statistics I had applying, so I had around about a 3.5 GPA. And as far as GRE is a test that you need to take in order to get accepted into some vet schools. Some vet schools don't require it, but some do. And I remember I did horrible on the GRE. Like, I bombed at the time, the one and only time I took it. I got like what was it? It was definitely about 10 to 15 points below average, the score that students who were applying and getting accepted to Georgia were making. So I was pretty below average. And as far as veterinary experience, I ended up getting a good amount of experience at a local veterinary clinic that only did small animals, cats and dogs. And then I also was luckily enough where my grandparents live in the good old Tennessee, out in the country. So they hooked me up and got me connected to some large animal vets there that and so during a summer between college, I went over to their place, lived with my grandparents, and ended up shadowing with these large animal veterinarians. They took me around to see all kinds of horses, cows, things like that, see if I would be interested in that. I wasn't, spoiler alert, but yeah, so that was cool. So I had a good amount of experience. I had a good couple of letters of recommendation from the vets there that I worked with closely. And I did horrible on the GRE, but I was like, hey, you know, maybe these other things will pick my chances of getting up a little bit higher. So anyway, I applied, and we were gonna get our acceptance letters. We were gonna find out who got accepted around the 1st of February, around the end of January, beginning of February. And during that time, I had a few hard exams coming up in biology, or maybe it wasn't biology. What classes was it? It was a couple of hard classes, maybe like biochemistry, something like that. Not entirely sure, but it was some hard classes. So I was gearing up for those tests. And I remember it was a Friday afternoon. It was a Friday afternoon. I had 2 tests in the morning, so I'd already done those tests. I was coming home to chill. So I took the exams. I got home. I was straight chilling, playing some Pokemon. I was chilling on my 3DS. I was playing Pokemon Alpha Sapphire. Not that that's relevant to the story at all, but you know, I was just playing, and then I got a notification on my phone, as you do, and I looked at my phone, And I was like, oh, what's this? Oh, the time had come. UGA had sent me a letter in the mail about whether I was going to get accepted or not. Oh my gosh. So, I sat there for a couple minutes, about 5 minutes. I was just like, I don't want to click it, but I want to click it, but I don't want to click it, but I need to click it and find out. So I ended up clicking it, and to my surprise, what do you know? See, when I clicked it, I was expecting, there's no way I got in. There's no way. Like, vet school is incredibly hard to get into. I think it's like 1 in 10 applicants get in. There's like a 10% chance. I think the year I applied, over 1,000 people applied, and the class size is about 100, so about 100 of 1,000 people got it, and it's really competitive. So in my mind, I was like, there's no way I'm getting in. Psh, come on now. Come on now. There's no way I'm getting in. And then I clicked on the letter, and it said I got accepted. What the frick? Oh my gosh. I was freaking out. I was jumping up and down. I was screaming. I was calling my parents. I was like, Mom, I got in. Dad, I got it. Oh my gosh. It was insane. It was one of the craziest days of my life. Honestly, because I had no expectations whatsoever. Like I said, I was incredibly lucky, and I'm so grateful that I got accepted. But there was a caveat that I had not expected at all. Like, this was out of left field. I got accepted, but then I started actually reading the letter, and the letter said some good things, but I hadn't read it fully before I told my parents, because when I sat down and actually decided to read it, you know, kind of word for word, go through it, make sure there was nothing crazy going on, it said I got accepted, but unfortunately, I got accepted and I didn't get an in-state seat. I got accepted as an out-of-state student with out-of-state tuition, aka super high paying tuition, aka double the tuition, aka that's not good, because the only reason I wanted to go to UGA, the main part, obviously it's close to home, things like that, but the main thing was the money. Like, I needed in-state tuition, not have so many loans, so many student debt, things like that, and it was out-of-state, and I was like, that's not good, because I was incredibly happy that I got in, that I actually got accepted into a vet school, which is already super crazy, super rare, super hard to do. But at the same time, I was like, that's not in-state tuition. That's not cheap. I was looking at my bank account. I was looking at my $599 in my student loan bank account, and I was like, I don't think that's gonna cover it. So the thing about it was, I had a few months to make a decision whether I wanted to accept the position or not, whether I wanted to go to vet school or, you know, not go, decline the offer, go to my final 4th year at Clemson University, and then apply again the next year. And I was really debating whether I wanted to do that or not, because think about it, if I decline this and I apply again, could be a chance that I don't get in the next time. Like, that's a real worry. That's a real thing that could happen if I don't plan this carefully, if I'm not smart about this. And it really was stressful for those few months. I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But about a month later, there was an event at the college that I got accepted to at UGA. They were having an event for all the students that had actually gotten accepted, where they could come, they can meet each other, they can meet the vets there, they can meet the staff, the teachers, things like that, take a tour of the school. And so I ended up going there to check it out, see if I wanted to go to UGA, see if I liked it, if I liked the vet school, take a tour of the campus, and it was nice. But I had a goal. When I went there, I had a goal, because I knew I needed to figure out, I needed to talk to something about this acceptance letter, talk about why I didn't get an in-state spot. Because another thing I didn't say is that it also told me that I was going to be put on a wait list. So what that means is, say one of those people with those 16 to 18 spots for in-state tuition from South Carolina, say one of those people doesn't want to go, if they drop out, they go and pull from that wait list. So if I'm on the wait list and someone who actually got one of those in-state spots drops out, I could potentially get that. So I wanted to talk about that, and I wanted to figure out what were my chances and what I could do, basically. And a lot was riding on that day, to be honest. And I remember when I got there, I was super nervous. I was meeting people. It was cool, but I had an ulterior motive. I was going in there with a mission. I wasn't there just to make friends, see the campus, see the teachers. I was there to speak to one man, and that man was the head of admissions at UGA, because that's really who I needed to talk to about getting in, and that's who was going to make the final decision at the end of the day, and that's who made the decision that told me that I got accepted, but as an out-of-state student. So I went and I found this man. And I talked to him, and I had to build up courage because, like I said, at the time I was still coming out of my shell. I was better in college for sure, definitely less introverted, but still, I was a shy boy. But I got the courage. I went up and talked to him. I was like, hey, I introduced myself. I'm Andrew Woods. I'm a prospective student. Like, it's really cool you accepted me, but like, it's not quite what I wanted. You feel me? And I ended up talking to him, and he told me unfortunately that I was pretty low. I mean, yeah, I was pretty far down on the wait list, so it was looking pretty unlucky that I would actually get one of those in-state spots if someone dropped out, because I wasn't high enough on the wait list, which really sucked, honestly. I was like, oh dang, that really sucks. And I was like, what can we do here? You know, I was like, what if I apply again the next year and they don't take me? And then I'm screwed. Like, I got accepted this year, but I didn't take it. Like, I don't want to miss that opportunity, you know what I'm saying? But I also don't want to pay that really high in-state tuition. So what he said was, he cut me a deal. Like, we were wheeling and dealing. This felt like I was on a game show. I was like, all right, I'm gonna throw my chips in, deal or no deal. It was crazy. And he basically told me, he was like, all right, Andrew, all right, Doctor, soon in the future to be Dr. Drew. Let me help you out here. Here's what we'll do. If you choose to not come this year, what we'll do is we will defer your acceptance until the next year. So basically what that means is, say I decide not to go this year, what they will do is I will apply again next year and see if at the time I can get in-state tuition. And if I do, great, perfect, I get one of those in-state spots. But if I don't, the catch is I can still go to vet school. So that was like a huge weight off my shoulders. I was like, I'll take that deal. Heck yeah, let's go. I'll take that any day, as long as it was like a guarantee that I could still skip this year. I could decline the offer for right now, come back a year later, apply again, and try again. But even if I fail at getting one of those in-state spots, I can still go, you know, because I really wanted to go to vet school, even though I would have paid the extra amount of money. I would have paid the out-of-state spot if I really needed to, but I didn't want to. So I was like, okay, I'll take this deal. And that was perfect. That was good. I was in a happy spot. I was ready to go back my senior year at Clemson University, finish off, get my undergraduate degree, apply again, and see what happens. And I was happy with that. That was great. And I remember that summer between my third and fourth year of college, I was chilling at home and I was realizing, hey, remember that GRE score that was really low? Yeah, if I want one of these in-state spots, I am going to need to raise that score up a lot. And I realized that, and the thing about that was, if you guys don't know, for one, I suck at standardized tests, and for two, I hate taking standardized tests. It is the bane of my existence. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I hate standardized tests with a passion. They need to go away. It's a stupid measure of success. It's not going to tell you how well you can do in vet school or well further in life. It's so stupid. But I needed to get a better score. And the problem was, to get a better score, I needed to study to get a better score. And the problem with studying during the summer is that having a bit of pre-senioritis, I didn't want to do it. And I remember summer was chugging along and I was like, looking at the date, I should probably get to studying, you know? But I didn't want to. And what happened was, it was like the beginning of July. So I had like a solid month and a half left before school started again, that I really needed to cram, study for this GRE so I can take it again and get a better score. And I remember one fateful day, I can't remember what day it was exactly, I was like, okay, today's the day. I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna just get it over with, I'm gonna start studying, even though I really hated it and really didn't want to study. I was one of those pretty rebellious kids where standardized tests, I was like, let me just wing it. But I knew I couldn't, so I needed to study, and I didn't want to study. So I picked the book up, I set it down on the table, I was like, all right, we're gonna study. We're gonna study, guys. Sit the book down, open it up, it's time to study, for real. But I didn't want to. And then in typical Andrew fashion, I decided before I started studying, I was like, you know what? Let me just chill for a little bit. Another thing you may not know about me is I'm a pretty big procrastinator. So if I don't have to do something, it's gonna take a really long time and a lot of effort to do it. And so I closed the book back up and I sat down on the couch and was doing something. I was watching something. And then all of a sudden, I got a call. And I remember my phone wasn't on silent and it started ringing, and I picked it up and I was like, who the heck is calling me? And I looked at it and it was an unknown number. This number was not saved in my phone. I didn't know who it was, but if you have an iPhone, you probably know that they will tell you what kind of area the phone number is in. And I looked at the area it was in, and the area was Athens, Georgia, the town that UGA is in. And I saw that, and my brain, like my gears started turning. I was like, because I didn't want to answer it. You know, you get all these spam calls. You don't want to answer them. And I was about to like just let it go, like hang up, like not pick it up. And I saw where it's from, Athens, Georgia, and I was like, could that be? Could that be like someone from the college, the vet school? And I was like, nah, there's no way. But I sat on it and it was ringing, and I was debating whether or not to pick it up. And I was like, you know what? Let me just pick it up. What else do I got to do? You know? So I picked it up, and on the other side of the phone was a voice that sounded kind of familiar. It was a man's voice, and he said, "Hey, is this Andrew Woods?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he was like, "Yeah, so I have some really good news for you. I want to ask you something." And I was like, "Yeah, what is it?" And he was like, "Well, see, you know when I told you that you had a pretty low chance of getting one of those in-state spots? You remember that?" And I was like, "Yeah, And he was like, "Well, turns out you have an in-state spot if you want it. AKA, you can go to vet school with in-state tuition this year, in a month and a half from now, if you would like that seat." And I was like, "No cap?" And he was like, "No cap, bro. No cap." And I was like, "Holy crap, are you serious?" Like, I was freaking out. I was literally shaking on the phone. I was like, is this real life? Is this freaking happening? And I was like, do I have to make the decision right now? And he was like, "Nah, man, you know what? We'll give you a day. Think about it. Just rest on it. Let me know by a few days, and we'll go from there." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Oh my freaking goodness. Is this real life? Thank you so much. I'll let you know." And then he was like, "All right, bro, check your email. It's official." And I was like, "Okay." And I checked my email, and boom, I had it. It was so out of the blue. It was literally the day I started procrastinating, studying for the GRE. Like, that is insane. The coincidence, the timing. I was like, are you serious right now? I was going to vet school, and I was going to vet school soon, and like really soon. Like, usually you have at least a few months to prepare. I had like a month and a few days. Like, it was really quick. Like, I was not expecting this at all. I had to find a place to live. I had to cancel my lease I had just signed to get a new apartment at Clemson. I had to cancel that. It was crazy, but you know, everything worked out. I got into vet school, and I just have to say, it was insanely lucky. I feel like I didn't deserve it. Like, like, think about it. It was my third year of college. I wasn't even expecting to get in. And not only did I get in the first time, and then I had to stress about it for a few months, but then I got in with in-state tuition, completely out of the blue. It was crazy. It was nuts. But I was like, you know what? That's destiny. Destiny, guys. We did it. Mama, we made it. We're going to vet school. And that's the story of how I got into vet school. Now, you may be sitting here realizing, wow, Andrew, how the frick do I do that? How do I do that? How do I emulate that success? And I don't know. I contributed a lot to luck, but also at the same time, I have to give myself credit, because when I first started college, I knew exactly that I wanted to go to vet school. I didn't try to do anything else. And so Hello, sorry about that, my camera battery died, but basically what I was saying is, I know it may seem that I got lucky, but I also did put in a lot of hard work, missed a lot of nights, doing things that I could have been doing for fun, studying, making sure I got good grades to get to vet school, and I contribute that a lot to my success. So I think, and wrapping up this whole thing up, if there was one piece of advice I would have to give, it would be that just because you don't get in your first time does not mean that you're not going to be a good veterinarian, does not measure your success in vet school or anything of the sort. Yes, I got lucky. However, picture the story of Picture the story of one of my classmates who got into vet school. Now, this individual spent at least 4 or 5 years trying to get into vet school, and it took them a long time to get in. But as soon as they got in, let me tell you that this vet student was one of the best students I have ever seen, one of the smartest, brightest people, and they're going to go on to do, sorry, cattail. They're going to go on to do great things in the veterinary industry world, and they're going on to do an internship and residency. So if that deters you, just know that regardless of whether you get in the first time or the last time, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you get accepted. So I hope this helps you guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching to the end of this video, and I guess I'll see you next time. Dr. Drew, signing off. So I just got a phone call from the guy at UGA, admissions director. He just gave me a call out of the blue. It's currently like July 10th or something like that. I was literally studying for the GRE right when he called me. Pick up the phone. He says, "I'd like to offer you this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to come to UGA on in-state tuition." I can't even think right now. Literally, this is like a dream come true. I didn't expect this at all. In my mind, I was like, okay, one more year at Clemson. That was it. Final.